So around when Assassin's Creed Valhalla first released, I made a video talking about how utterly broken stealth was in that game. The detection system was in absolute shambles, enemies could spot you through walls, instant spot you from what felt like miles away, and there were times where the detection meter wouldn't even appear. It was a total mess. And in a series like Assassin's Creed that has always had such important emphasis on stealth, that is obviously not acceptable. Now, it took them like a year, but they did fix those issues for the most part. But it's nice to have a complete contrast here and actually be able to talk positively about a new Assassin's Creed game stealth system, because it's been a while. If it wasn't obvious, I'm a huge fan of stealth games, and it's actually what got me into Assassin's Creed in the first place. Stealth is what I care about most in these games above all else. But stealth-focused games are starting to feel more and more rare these days, and it even started to take a bit of a back seat in Assassin's Creed recently, which is why it's so refreshing to have Mirage, a game that not only puts immense focus and emphasis on the use of stealth, but also works as a functioning, consistent, and genuinely fun stealth system. This game understands how to make a fun stealth game, even if what it's offering isn't entirely innovative or unique. But since I mentioned Valhalla's detection system, let's start with that for Mirage. The team at Ubisoft Bordeaux rebuilt the detection system from the ground up, and they also brought back the last known position silhouettes that were present in Unity and Syndicate. This is helpful because you can use this as a reference to where enemies last saw you and where they're going to investigate. And more experienced Assassin's Creed veterans know you can actually use this to your advantage as a way to lure guards into a specific position for an easy assassination. And like some of those older games, it works quite well in Mirage. But most importantly, Mirage's detection system functions properly. I never had an instance of a broken or BS detection in this game. None of that weird insta-spotting that felt very common in Valhalla at launch. On top of this, the detection felt consistent. It made it so I could learn the detection speeds and the range at which enemies can actually spot you. Having consistent detection makes it a lot easier to learn what you can and can't get away with in stealth, and how best to use the detection to your advantage. But I think probably the best part of stealth in Mirage are the tools. The tools alone bring so much more depth and choice when it comes to stealth. And once you have all of them, it can make you feel like a true master assassin. Now obviously we've had tools in Assassin's Creed in the past, but they have been largely missing in the last few games. Aside from really the bows, there weren't many options, and some tools were limited to more situational scenarios. Like for example, the smoke bombs in Origins can only be used after a dodge or melee attack. You can't actually aim and throw them. Mirage of course brought back the throwing knives, smoke bombs as we knew them, the blow dart, noisemakers, and a new addition with the traps. But what makes the tools unique in Mirage from any other Assassin's Creed game is the ability to upgrade and modify them. There's a fairly wide variety of choices you can make to the modifications for each tool and create your own unique combinations and setups with each tool. I've already seen lots of unique modification combos through other people's gameplay, and just having that choice, freedom, and potential brings more to the tools than any other Assassin's Creed game has had in the past. You have so many unique ways to approach stealth in this game with the different tools and modifications. It's just an extra layer to stealth that has just been missing recently, and it has to be one of the best new additions they made in Mirage as a whole. The next is Assassin's Focus. The closest we've had to something like this is probably Rush Assassination from Odyssey, but even then it's not the same thing. What makes Assassin's Focus such a great addition is the creativity and versatility it allows for. There's a lot of different ways you can use this ability, and there's going to be a genuine skill gap between those who know how to use it efficiently and those who don't. Now obviously the ability's main use is for chaining a bunch of kills in quick succession, but it can also be used for movement, or even as almost like a get out of jail free card. Using Assassin's Focus to get to higher ground ground or to an area you couldn't normally reach is one of the best uses of it. It allows you to move in a way and speed you wouldn't normally be able to. It's also extremely useful for when you make a mistake and are about to get spotted. Use the assassin's focus and quickly kill the enemy that's about to detect you. And since you don't need it to be fully charged to activate it, you can use it to your advantage quickly and often. You can even use it while falling to avoid fall damage or landing right in an enemy's detection cone. Again, just bringing another element, another powerful option for stealth. Mirage just does what any good stealth game should do, giving the player different options and choices to approach stealth opportunities. That even extends to the full return of social stealth, whether it's through crowd blending, which is genuinely useful in certain situations during the game, or hiring out the different factions. Again, the game is just giving you choices. Another element to stealth I appreciate in Mirage is the ample amount of opportunities to use your environment to your advantage, whether that's with heavy hanging objects you can use to knock down onto unexpected foes, fire barrels, spice bags that you can use as makeshift smoke bombs, or even benches. There are so many benches across Baghdad that can be very useful for getting an inconspicuous assassination without gaining any notoriety. Once again, these are all just things that are giving you options and different creative ways to kill targets. This game encourages you to use all these different weapons and ways of approach to your benefit. It allows for creativity. This goes for the skills as well. Mirage doesn't have a very large or expansive skill tree, but there are still some important skills to unlock for stealth that give you that sense of progression. It makes Bazem feel like he's evolving as an assassin. Like chain assassination, for example, which has been majorly improved from Origins and Valhalla. The throwing knife on the chain assassination is so much quicker and allows you to take out enemies from pretty decent range as well. I will say though, it still felt a bit inconsistent. Like there were definitely times where I felt I should have been able to chain assassinate, but the game just didn't let me. But there are several strong and important skills to unlock, especially involving tool capacity and assassin's focus, that give you more options as you progress through the game. But I think a lot of Mirage's understanding of stealth shows through in the little details. Mirage gets a lot of smaller but important details right that make for an overall better stealth experience. A prime example is giving you a window to actually make an assassination after you've been detected. That way, when you're right within range of a target that is facing you, you still have a chance to make a quick assassination. The timing of it is pretty forgiving, and this is something a lot of the original Assassin's Creed games allowed for as well. As someone who plays a lot of stealth games, this is something I really appreciate, because it's one of the most frustrating things to me when a guard detects you and the game immediately forces you to pull out your weapon and engage in combat, even though you are right in front of said guard and could still very easily take them down silently. I also love that you can assassinate guards within a smoke bomb after you've already been detected. If they can't see me in the smoke bomb, then it's only common sense that I should be able to assassinate them. But a lot of the games in the series don't allow this. This is actually one of my biggest annoyances with Unity's stealth, because if you drop a smoke bomb while in combat in that game, it won't allow you to assassinate and you can only do a melee attack. So little details like this are stuff I really appreciate. Now you can't actually assassinate some of the more brutish enemy types in smoke bombs, but that's more reasonable as they're supposed to be the tankier and more difficult enemy types. It would be too easy if you could just spam smoke bombs to kill them every single time. Another detail I like is that if you aim one of your tools while in cover, you will remain hidden. AC Odyssey did this as well with a bow, where if you aimed it while in a bush or something, you remain hidden. But Valhalla and Origins didn't have this, and it caused me to get detected quite a few times in those games. In fact, in a video where I tried to get as far as possible in Origins without being detected, that is how I got spotted. Another change Mirage made that I really liked was turning the old crouch dodge from the last few games into a roll. It's a small thing, but the roll feels quicker and more consistent, and I used the advantages of its quick burst of speed a lot throughout the game. The cover assassinations in this game also felt very smooth and satisfying to me. I was impressed by the consistency of which the game could actually tell that you were behind cover and perform the unique animation where Bazem drags his target get back behind the cover you started at. Another change I appreciate is that if you're within close range to another enemy when performing a chain assassination, Basim will just chain the kill with his hidden blade instead of the throwing knife. That's different from the last few games, and it just looks a lot more natural and smooth. These may seem like small things, but a lot of them add up to make a big difference, especially in such a stealth-focused game like Mirage. And most importantly, all these things create a fairly high skill ceiling for stealth in Mirage. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I mean there's actually ample room to grow and improve at Mirage's stealth system as you learn new techniques and strategies, whether it's with the tools or various mechanics. Those who try to engage with these tactics and try to improve are rewarded. There's a bigger skill gap between those who use said tactics and look to get a deeper understanding of the game's mechanics and those who don't. I think a perfect example of this is how you see higher skill players use the Assassin's Focus ability, or a little trick you've probably seen a lot of people do already is throw a throwing knife at one enemy and then using Assassin's Focus to kill another before the throwing knife has actually struck that first target. Mirage allows you to do cool stuff like that because of the depth of its tools and abilities. This was a game I could actually feel myself getting better at, particularly in stealth, as I progressed, while at the same time Basim rises through the ranks and becomes a deadlier assassin himself. That sort of satisfying progression within stealth has been rather limited by the more recent entries, and Assassin's Creed Mirage was able to bring back that feeling from the older titles for me. Mirage is a fast, focused stealth game, and most importantly, it understands the intricacies, mechanics, and systems that makes for a fun and consistent experience. And for stealth players such as myself, who were frustrated by Valhalla's broken stealth on launch, it feels really nice to finally feel seen and heard again. I know some people may still have their issues with Mirage, but as a stealth game, it does exactly what it should do. And it's a major reason why I've loved playing this game so much. But let me know how you feel about stealth in Mirage down in the comments, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you left a like and considered subscribing to the channel if you're new. A special thank you to my members for supporting me, and other than that, thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day, Assassins.